Alrighty. Hello, everyone. My name is David Celeste, and I'm going to be presenting on declaring statically typed collections. I'm a member of House Hawk. All right, so first and foremost, what is a collection? Um, it can mean a number of things in JavaScript. It means storing a number of different values, properties, etc. Just a data structure that can store other forms of data, maybe strings, numbers. It really depends on what you want to store. So some examples might include arrays, tuples, or tuples. I'm not entirely sure how that's pronounced, but whatever. Um, Objects, maps, and sets. So those are just some examples. There's more, but that's what we're going to go through today. I did not mean to do that. Okay. So this is normal JavaScript, right? So for your arrays, if you want to create a new array, you might do something like what you see here. Can everyone see my mouse pointer okay? Okay. So right over here, we have an array just like this. You have the brackets, you have your individual elements right here, A, B, C, D, E. And that's one way you might declare a new array, something like that. With tuples, they're not explicitly defined in JavaScript per se, but basically they're arrays of a fixed length. So maybe you have an array of length 2 or length 3. You won't ever have more elements than that. Different in TypeScript, but we'll be getting to that shortly. Um, Objects, they have like a key value set up here. So you have this key right here inside these curly braces. So A is the key. 1 is the value for that. So that's like the property A of this object. And then so on. B is 2, C, hello world. So if you were to do object.a, you'd get 1.b, 2, etc. Also not strongly typed. It's much more straightforward to do in normal JavaScript. This is all you have to do. You don't have to declare any types, which is what basically we're getting at here. Maps, you have to create a new map using this syntax like this. And then you can do something like map.set, like your first key or whatever, A in this case. And then we're doing the string hello. Like it says here, it's similar to objects, except you can iterate over maps in order of insertion. So all of that to say, if you insert these using map.set in a certain order, once you try to iterate over that map later, it's going to go in that order, the order you inserted, as opposed to like alphabetical order or something like that, which might happen if you try to iterate over an object's keys, something to that effect. And last but not least, for our examples, we have sets. You would do something like this, new set. Then you do set.add and whatever you want to add. Like it says again, it is similar to arrays, but can only contain a certain value once. So maybe you do set.add like multiple times. You do set.add, in our instance, 1, 1, 2, and 3. The resulting set is actually just going to come out as 1, 2, 3, because you can't have 2 of the same element in a set. So that's just going to kind of trim it out. It won't get added. So what about TypeScript? What's the difference with TypeScript? What exactly does it to quantify? What exactly is it? It's strongly typed, which means you need to specify the type that's being used, which is basically the crux of what TypeScript is versus JavaScript. So in a nutshell, I've provided these examples. I apologize, it's not formatted super well, but I did include code examples that look better we can show after this. But in short, so you know how in our previous example, we only had to include these, like our elements right here with commas separate. Here you have to define your variable. You have to declare your variable as an array of type, in our instance, number. So basically what this means with this colon syntax is that num is going to be an array, and all arrays are going to be of type number. All right, starting from where I left off. Tuples or tuples or however you pronounce that. So in our previous example with arrays, JavaScript I mentioned doesn't actually support them right out of the box, but here with tuples and TypeScript, we can specifically define their size and which elements they'll take in each slot. basically. So in our instance, we have data, and then we have this array-like structure, string and number is going to be equal to hello world, and then the number 1000. So notice it has to be, for that first element there, type string, and then the second element type number. Similar to an array, but there's a fixed, yeah, that's what I just said. So objects, on the other hand, very much in the same style. It has to be strongly typed. Notice we have this data is equal to, this is the type right here. The first name parameter or property has to be a string, and age has to be a number. So when we go set this, name has to be a string, and age has to be a number right here. Maps, same concept. We create a new map. We're using this chevron kind of syntax here, which basically just defines what we have to be using for those spots. String and the string there, and last but not least, sets, same thing, but you do have to use this chevron thing right here again. And of course, sets, you only have one of each value. So why use strong typing or TypeScript in general? As a general rule, it's more specific. So like you have to be very specific in what you're setting up here. Less confusing in larger projects. Like if you have thousands of lines of code, you might end up getting confused. You've had this in multiple different places, this one variable. You don't really know what it is just by looking at it, though. By having a type specified, you're not as likely to run into a bunch of different errors. And here's an example showing maybe how you might make a mistake. Very basic, but like suppose you have a string right here set to A, and then you have B being a number. If you combine these two, it's going to concatenate them because the first one is a string. That's a pretty common error that people might run into. TypeScript, you can't really have that, right? You can't actually concatenate a string and a number because that's just not how it works. So you're going to run into an error. You're going to see immediately why that's an issue. Okay, so I put this in the wrong order a little bit, but I think that's okay. I just provided these better code examples in case you want to be able to see more explicitly what this might look like. So in TypeScript, we're using this set1. We use this caret syntax or whatever, chevron, and we're doing this. It's still only going to end up as 1, 2, 3, since we can't have duplicates in sets. Arrays, here are the two main ways you can do that. Array of type number is what we're doing here, and also the same here. Tuples, same deal. We're making it so it has to follow this format. 2 strings, just like that. Objects might look something like this. This is the format it has to follow right up here. So A is going to be of type string, B is going to be of type number. This is an object as specified by the curly braces. A, hello world, B, 1000. And maps, again, same thing. Using this chevron syntax, name is going to be set to John, something like that. They're both strings. The key and the value is what that means. So, in summary, reasons to use TypeScript: it's more structured, easier to debug, and arguably more professional. Just less likely to make issues. Your code will look nicer. Things along that kind of line. All right, and with that, I think I'm pretty much done with my presentation.